Okay, howdy and aloha, everybody. This is James with Montauk. You're all doing well. Today is December the 15th of 2022. Another documentary by James at Montauk on what the fuck is going on in this country, which is pretty crazy. And it's just getting nuttier all the freaking time. It's just getting crazier and crazier and crazier. I don't see a lot of people doing a lot about it. I thought I'd show you a quick cartoon because there's somebody that I think is being protected, which seems pretty obvious. And if we're talking about this guy right here, let me play this for you. It's fucking hilarious. So Jack Dorsey comes on and comes out in support of Elon Musk on Twitter, and he says, "Oh yeah, I would have done it this way, and I would have done it that way," and da 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 da. It's like, dude, you ran the fucking show. How did you not know any of that dumped crap file shit? Ministry of Truth, suppression of pertinent information, you know, not hit your desk. It's just fucking unfathomable. Unfathomable. Oh, whatever, it's just fucking crazy. There's just no way. There's just no way he didn't fucking know. He knew. He knew everything. It's your ship. You're responsible. You're liable. You're just as implicit as everybody else. Vijay, Vijay, whatever the fuck her name is, and everybody else. You're just as responsible. They don't, and for Matt to protect them and a few others to protect them, it just seems so retarded. And not just retarded. It's just it seems a little telling, a little weird.
Once known as Jack Brolin, a reporter for the national news, the hero was born when a freak accident gave him the amazing power of extraordinary hindsight. From toxic spills to unjust wars, there is no task too large for Captain Hindsight.
Captain Hindsight? Captain Hindsight, please come in.
Go ahead.
The oil keeps coming out. We've got other rigs now catching fire.
Listen, they should have hosed down the other rigs as soon as the spill began, then that wouldn't have happened.
Right. Thank you.
Captain Hindsight, the dolphins that those volunteers cleaned of oil, they're all dying. Get down to the volunteers and tell them they should have used a non-bleaching cleanser.
How's it, James?
Commissioner,
Yes.
tell Brett Ferguson
I'm playing
to
a
never
video,
send
so
actual
just a
pictures
moment.
of his schlong.
Good seeing you, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
It's not a blessing, it's a curse.
You see him pull this out.
Well. It looks like old Jack Dorsey has emerged.
This guy's show, The Quartering, he's got some good information. Yeah, he leans
I
a little
watched
to the
that guy. I
right.
watched that guy before, the quartering.
Yeah, he had a really good. He was on top of the Twitter files for sure, and he's
I watched
questioning Jack Dorsey as well. I mean, a lot of people are like, "Well, Matt Taibbi said right off the bat, Jack Dorsey had nothing to do with this." It's like, are you fucking stupid? Do you think we're fucking stupid? Do you think we know you're not that stupid and we're not that stupid? So who do you think you're fucking fooling? This is the guy that ran fucking Twitter, right? And he's like trying to protect him. I'm like, what the fuck? That's just ridiculous, dude. I mean, you know what's going on in your. Let's just say you got a plumbing company, right? You own it. You're just a sole proprietor. You're the CEO, and then all of a sudden there's something happening with the FBI and Department of Justice and the Democratic National Committee and the Democrats. How do you not know that? How does that not even come across your desk? Like a billboard flashing in front of you. As you're driving on the highway. That's just fucking retarded. It's just for anybody to say that guy didn't have fucking anything to do with any. that he didn't allow it, he wasn't watching it, he didn't monitor it, he didn't say, okay, just let everybody know I was involved. Okay, just tell everybody I didn't know. So he's just and then hindsight is 2020, like that cartoon I just played, Captain Hindsight from what the fuck is the little cartoon? Forgot the name of the cartoon. It'll come to me. But it's just classic. I mean, it's just crazy how we protect these billionaires. It's just these gazillionaires and billionaires, and it's pretty obvious that the reason why anybody would dislocate themselves, or excuse me, dislocate somebody from being implemented in a possible coercion or collusion or something nefarious as that, which obviously happened, and everybody knew it was happening. I mean, since Elon Musk, which is really odd with me, because as soon as Elon Musk, walked in with a sync to Twitter, yay, that's really cool. My channel gained over 100 subscribers. I've had my channel since 2009.
Nice.
Right? So all of a sudden it just blows up. No. There's, and a lot of people are saying the same thing. Now, on the other hand, there's something going on in regards to, and it's in the title, the divide and conquer, the wedge that's being used out there between left, right, gender, race, you name the issue or whatever the situation is that mainstream media brings up. We're continually, everything's kind of blurry here. We're continually seeing, just the dumbest, in my opinion, decisions it's kind of obvious. What I'm getting to is the divide and conquer. What you don't want is you don't want people to, if you're the 0.001%, or if you're the 1%, or if you're a monarchical leader, the goal, your everlasting goal, the goal that you always had, and it's been passed down from generation to generation, probably for thousands of years, was to keep the masses fighting each other instead of you. That's their play. That's always been their play. Nobody's ever figured that. It seems like it's interesting to me that nobody's ever figured that out yet. I, and many, besides myself, just fucking it's like common knowledge. It's common knowledge. That's what they do. That's the way they do it. They make sure that if anything starts getting if they start getting implemented or mentioned or put into a narrative or something that is negative, they'll create something. They have that kind of money, they have that kind of power, they can have that kind of influence. They'll create something. Oh shit, I forgot to send Shelly the invite. Hang on. I didn't forget. See, that's why I'm setting it down. Okay,
in fact, even that money thing, the whole thing is a fraud. Everything.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just numbers. It's just digits in a computer.
Yes, I'm going to definitely agree with you there, because here's what I believe has been happening for a long time is it's just been a farce. It's just been a hoax. Everything is planned. Everything is already orchestrated. Everybody's been given their scripts. You've seen the commercials of the collage of all the many, radio and video, local TV channels basically saying the identical phrases from CBS, NBC, CNN, even Fox has been involved with it, to where they're following a script created by, you know, the people that are actually pulling the strings. And I've always said it's not your legislator, it's not your judiciary, it's not your executive, it's not your department head. The people that are actually pulling the strings are these people that have a god awful amount of money, and they continue to do this crap, and they continue and continue and continue, and nobody wants to. I mean, the Department of Justice and the FBI and the CIA, they have the ability. They definitely have the ability to follow the money. When you hear the I wish we could just follow the money to see where the money's going.
Keep
Then,
on. Yeah. Right.
then we'd really know who's involved and what's going on. They fucking know. It's not like they don't know. They totally know. They can, and they know how to find out. They have control of all that stuff. They can trace. They know how much I have in my 3 bank accounts, my 3 checking accounts. They know how much I have in my, and what I've made over the past year. They know. Everything. They know where I put it, where I took it, who I Zelled, who I what's that called? Venmo'd, or people sent stuff there, family, whatever, friends. They know where the money's going. They can check on me anytime they want. All of them. But they won't go after the real instigators of the wars, the famine, the destruction upon the 99%. That's terribly horrific now. And they won't go after the legislators, judiciaries, executives, and department heads that are involved with it. They won't. I think Shelley's here somewhere.
Shelley, how are you?
Hi, Shelley.
Hi.
Welcome. Hey. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but I showed the Captain Hindsight South Park cartoon. Have you seen it?
No, I missed it.
Oh, can I send it to you and then you can play it? Because it's brilliant. Because did you hear? Because I know we're up floating on topics. You know how I am. But Captain Hindsight, hindsight's 2020. This is where Jack Dorsey is right now. He's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. The Quartering brought it up. I'll just send you his link. But he's all saying, well, I would have done it this way, and I would have, if I known. And I'm like, fuck you. You knew. There's no effing way. And I just went over the examples of how many companies and how many CEOs have gone down. I think WikiLeaks, Julian Assange brought down dozens of CEOs and presidents and financial officers, and a lot of high up the totem pole individuals that were implicit in a lot of different nefarious, coercive, collusional, criminal felon activities. But this guy's just, I can't, just right off the bat, it's like when Matt Taibbi, like in his 3rd or 4th post of the Twitter leaks or something, it was in the first 5 or 10, I don't know. And Jack Dorsey had nothing to do with it, or something to that effect. I'm like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? What do you think?
Yeah, that was a bit quick.
Yeah, like right off the bat.
That was suspicious. Yeah, it was suspiciously quick.
Yeah. It's like, dude, it's, I mean, how obvious could it be to throw that in there within the first, 5 posts of what they're exposing? And I'm just like, oh, well, then that, because somebody got paid. Jack's like, you know what? Keep me out of this. I'll take care of you. I'll send some money to your Cayman Island account. Or I'm sure you got one in South Africa, like a lot of people do.
Panama.
Yeah, Panama or Swiss banking. Just don't. I'll take care. I'll just send me your numbers and I'll send you some digits and just keep me out of it. But it's just classic. Do you want to play it? Do you mind playing it? Are you able to play? Because I think you said you were able to. Do you mind sharing? You got to see. I think it's just,
Yeah.
or no.
I played one last time, right? Did it work last time?
Yeah.
I tried it last
Yeah,
time.
you
Okay.
did. Yeah, it's great. But give me
Yeah.
a moment.
Okay.
Let me send it
Yeah, I can
because
share it.
it's just the very beginning of the quartering this guy Jacob or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I watched him before. He's on
He's got some
Rumble.
good stuff. He got some good stuff. Let me get it right to you. I'm gonna send it to your. What do you want me to? Which one would? If I send you something, should I just post it in the Zoom?
Yeah,
Or-
just do that.
Okay.
It's easier.
Roger that. Will do.
That's the guy with all the sports memorabilia in the background in his house.
I know. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. What's interesting is a lot of people that have financial shows that have, just. I mean, I would like to just talk about surfing, or
That'd
fishing,
be awesome. Yeah.
right? Or I'd just like to talk about, working on my truck or something like that. Tools, how to. But a lot of people out there that had those shows are actually more focused and have opened up to all this crap that's happening now. And I'm going to talk about somebody else here pretty soon, and I'll show you. I got Dr. Drew starting to, pin the needle or get into the dark area.
Oh yeah. I watched him too.
So I said, just let me know when you're ready, and then I'll. You know how to prep it and all that
Okay.
stuff.
Dr.
Yeah,
Drew
so-
had Edward Dowd on his show one time.
He had Edward Dowd, which is huge. He's going to have Steve Kirsch. And what's really cool about Steve Kirsch is that guy
Okay, I got it.
he's very available. Okay, cool. Yeah, you gotta. This is classic. Captain Hindsight. Yeah, go ahead and when you're ready.
Once known as Jack Brolin, a reporter for the national news, the hero was born when a freak accident gave him the amazing power of extraordinary hindsight. From toxic spills to unjust wars, there is no task too large for Captain Hindsight.
Captain Hindsight? Captain Hindsight, please come in.
Go ahead.
The oil keeps coming out. We've got other rigs now catching fire.
Listen, they should have hosed down the other rigs as soon as the spill began, then that wouldn't have happened.
Right. Thank you. Captain Hindsight, the dolphins that those volunteers cleaned of oil, they're all dying.
Get down to the volunteers and tell them they should have used a non-bleaching cleanser. Commissioner,
Yes.
tell Brett Favre he should have never sent actual pictures of his schlong. It's not a blessing, it's a curse.
Well.
Yeah, stop it.
Looks like old Jack Dorsey has
You can stop it now.
emerged from his.
Okay, so yeah, isn't that cool? Isn't that just so fortunate that he's able to do that? But I'm just saying. Go ahead.
That clip.
I think that's just freaking. It's comical yet telling at the same time. You just don't. What's weird is when you're on. There's no picture. Is there a reason for that?
I don't do video.
No. I get you, but usually
don't-
there's a square. A couple times you've been on, but there's no square.
Oh, that's
Is that on
weird.
my side or I don't get it? Let me see if that's on my
Because
side.
I see it on my side.
You see the
Oh,
square?
yes, a new frame.
Yeah, I see the square. That's really weird.
Really? Oh, okay. I guess it doesn't show them. That's strange. Yeah, so he's involved. Fuck, and Reed's saying it's all. I just don't get how much longer we can all be fooled by this. I mean, I think I'm not being fooled. I know you're not being fooled. I know Reed's definitely not being fooled, and a few other people out there on the planet aren't being fooled. The only people that I think are being fooled are the 70 I think it's 68 to 70% of the people on the planet have possibly taken the mRNA vaccine. Most of those, I think a good chunk of those people had to because of their job or because it was mandated or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I would
there's a
have to
lot of
agree with
people
that.
that were fooled, that are still being fooled. And then a lot of those people are like, ah, fourth or fifth now. I mean, the second
Yeah, I know.
one,
So
go
I
ahead.
know somebody that just got her sixth one.
They're sixth.
Hmm. And
Fucking
well, okay, she's up there in age, and she has fibromyalgia, right? She's 72 and she's got fibromyalgia.
yeah.
Before she started getting the shots, she was like walking a couple miles a day, and she was like going out dancing and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then gradually, like, she couldn't even like walk around the block at some point. Like she could, and now she can't dance anymore. She could barely, like, it hurts to take a walk, and she has to go really slow now. She can't walk nearly as long.
Wow.
And like, it's just like,
You can't say
I
anything.
mean,
You don't. You.
yeah, because she's like really hard on the COVID stuff. Like,
Wow.
she's 72-year-old woman. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
fucking,
Just don't. Yeah. I get you.
I'm not gonna push it. It's like with my
I
family.
know.
It's like I'm not gonna push it with my family either.
Yeah. There's people
I
I talk
drop
to.
little things here, but it causes. I don't want to cause arguments with
Nah,
people.
it's too late.
Like
It's too late
I
anyway.
just know that. Yeah, I know the subjects I need to stay away from with people who are close to me, and I just, I might, drop things here and there, or just forget who I'm talking to. But like,
Right. I am not intentionally going to get into it with people that I thought had the ability to question authority and its sources at every turn. Those people have
you
disappeared.
know, the ironic thing about my friend is that she was an anti-war protester in the '60s.
She was a what?
She was an anti-war and civil rights protester in the '60s.
Well, shit. Yeah. See, that just.
How
Yeah.
ironic is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's.
it seems like a lot of people who had that mentality before are like
Mhm.
totally going hard on the COVID stuff. Like, it's weird because like you should be questioning like you question other things. So what the fuck is going on here? And it's so obviously the social engineering that, I mean, they did all these studies in the beginning of COVID. Like if you read like Johns Hopkins studies and stuff like that,
Mhm.
they were doing studies on what the best messaging was to get people vaccinated and keep people in lockdown and shit
Mhm.
like that. So like obviously it worked really fucking well.
Well, I don't know if you've heard on my show, but I brought it up a few times. It's called the the Elderman Group. You ever heard of them?
I'm sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the Elderman Group is. Let me bring it up real quick. The Edelman Group. Sorry, the Edelman Group.
Oh, try to place them. I know the name.
Yeah. So what they do is their job is to make BlackRock, Chatham House, the Council on Foreign Relations, the World Economic Forum, Klaus, Urari, you know, the king, not the super kingpins, but their NGOs and their corporations and them themselves look good, be good,
They're a
publicity
PR firm. They're a PR
perfect.
firm.
That's their. It's a
Yeah.
giant. It's a giant PR firm. That is correct. And there was this one girl, and I used to play this video. I think I had saved it somewhere. How do you spell Edelman Group? But anyway, she comes on, and she's at Davos, and she says the according to the Edelman Group, the elite are having a problem with the populations of their how people see them. They have a negative perspective. This is recent. This is like within the last year or two. And it's the way she said it. It's like they're, us elite, we're just not looking good to people, right? We're just not. We're just not showing that, like, that we're being presented as the good folk. And this is what the Edelman Group does. They also do that. People really have no idea how big this. What's weird is they only have 4,000 subscribers, but they're gigantic. They do the work and the publicity, the public relations for fucking everybody, for just all these major companies. So then that's telling as well. And when you have an elitist lady comes on. I wish I had the video. I'd have you play it. Well, I'll try to find it. And just say, the elite are being perceived in a negative light per the Edelman Group polling. It's like, what the fuck? To call yourself that. Does that jar you just a little bit? Do you know what I mean?
Not really, because back in the day, they've been doing this for millennia. The power elite, they claim that they are they have been appointed by God, or they're directly descended by God, or they create these myths by, they hire writers and stuff like that, create these myths that they spread throughout the land, and they become popular stories through song. They become popular stories so people don't revolt. And it's just something. I don't know. It does surprise me, and it doesn't. Like, the level of it, as far as like how global it is, because it's not just like national; it's global. I mean, that the level is surprising, but the fact that they're doing it isn't surprising at all.
No, it's just the way they see. Well, how does this? The ego. They don't even realize, right? So yeah. It's like they don't even realize that they're saying, or that they're being, or that they're behaving like a snooty fuck, right? Like some snooty, privileged, fucking wannabe demigod type mentality.
Yeah, it's really hard to put yourself in that mindset because you don't have that kind of mindset.
Yeah, they're out there.
It's sociopathic. It's psychopathic.
Yeah, totally narcissistic,
it's very
sociopathic.
You have to be a narcissist or a psychopath to understand that kind of mindset, and most people aren't.
I think that's just created when you're born with a diamond spoon, not a silver spoon, not a gold spoon, but a diamond spoon. That's just going to happen. It's just kind of automatic. Now I'm all for people being successful and having businesses, like I've always said. But when they start, when you have people that are out there creating and influencing, legislators, judiciaries, executives, and department heads to do some nefarious and criminal crap on your behalf, or to look the other way on many cases, then I have a problem with you. I want you to earn your money and and do good. That's fine with me. What do we got here? Very plausible Yeah, it's plausible deniability. I think. Who is that? Hey, Snork is here. Hold on, I'm just looking at something real quick. Beamworthy. I don't know who that is, but thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you for being here. It's weird. it's not weird. It's just, and these are the people making decisions and pulling the strings, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's and so and these are the people that want us to eat bugs, and these are the people that are, basically, like I've always said, and like I've recently said. Oh, it's Ben. Oh, hey, sorry. Hey, Ben. Good seeing you, buddy. Um, it's been a while, but they're. I almost lost my train of thought there. I know. I hate when that happens. Hey, what's up, bro? So when these people are doing these things and just criminal activities, or getting all these, getting your legislator to create mandates and become full on authoritarian, tyrannically authoritarian. Um, they start, and I think I've lost my train, but I think they I don't. It's weird that the choice that's made by our legislators and judiciaries, executives, and that they have, they've lost their moral fiber so badly. It's like I can't. It's like somebody. It's like if I mean, Joe Biden's just. He's just a puppet. He's just a half dead puppet. He doesn't really know what he doesn't create his tweets. He
I
doesn't
mean,
answer Facebook. He doesn't really do anything. But what I'm talking about is these people out there that are pulling the strings, that have other people pulling these some more strings. So they pull the string to have this other person pull the string, and it's the other person that's pulling the string. I don't see how they truly believe that they can trust somebody with this type of mentality. That's like, let me just say, so the mob mentality, which I think Whitney Webb kind of goes over a lot of this, that there's a mob mentality basically with our world leaders. It's blackmail, coercion, all this other stuff,
mhm.
but the thing that's constant with them is they seem to want to, they seem to want to always make sure that they appear like they're being helpful or beneficial, but at the same time, the to their real constituent, to their real donor, to their real elbow greaser, which
The
is some
people that they actually work for,
yeah,
not
the people that they actually
the
work there,
people
exactly,
say they
yeah.
work for.
But the thing is but the mob mentality means that, well, that guy doesn't really, you're expendable. That's the thing that gets me is these, what these people don't understand, and I don't care how high you are in the CIA or the FBI or the NSA or the DOJ or whatever, you're expendable to these
Yeah,
people.
man, you will get thrown under the bus in a split second if
Yeah,
you even
yeah,
question the smallest thing,
yeah,
or you say the wrong fucking word to the wrong fucking person. They will throw you. You can be like, the the country's like most beloved, head of FBI or whatever,
right,
and you just look at somebody the wrong way, they will fucking throw you under the bus.
yeah,
They don't fucking
and they'll back
because
up and roll over your back again.
they have somebody waiting in the wings to take their position.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
So it's like they, these people in power, like they know what's up. They don't do shit because they know if they make the wrong step, they get thrown out of their little cushy positions and shit.
Right. Like and I there wasn't just one island for Epstein, and a lot of people don't realize this, but there were many locations that these sick fuckers were doing, and
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
bringing a lot of the yeah. It's, for some reason now I'm talking, I'm not even being seen, but anyway, so now, and they were bringing So they set it up like this, and just like the mafia does, they get them in a particular situation or a place where they've already committed some crime that they can definitely blackmail them on. So here's my thing. If you know this has been happening, which you can't be naive to think that this hasn't been going on forever, for decades, right? At least decades. That why would you take that position? Why would you want to go, well, I want to be the head of the CIA because I want to be controlled and manipulated because I'm a fucking pedophile? Right? Is
I
that
don't
the,
think
I
when
just, that's my
people.
question.
Okay, so here's a short little story. My sister and I were both looking into joining the FBI. I wanted to be a forensic scientist. I was in school for anthropology at the time, and my
Uh,
sister was working at the college, and she wanted to go to Quantico and learn how to be oh god, what are they called? Uh, a profiler. She's really good at it too. We both
uh,
are. We just have a natural knack for it. And so she took the test. We're not sociopaths. Like people don't okay, most people who go into these jobs go into the CIA to do like CIA analyst kind of stuff or any kind of FBI job.
uh,
Most of them don't go in there thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be compromised so I can get more power. It's like once they get in there, there's like a cult mentality because they really are cults.
yeah.
Like
The
they have a
Brotherhood?
head, yeah, they have a leader, which
Yeah.
is the government if you really think about it. Um, like it's like the whole us versus them mentality, and it's like we're better than everybody else. We've got the right answers. All this other shit. Like
Right.
they got have a lot of the cult stuff going on too. So I mean, a lot of jobs do. Walmart does, but like I don't think a lot of people going in, for their first position are like, yeah, I'm going to be the FBI director and compromise as hell, and diddle kitties, and all this other shit. I honestly don't believe that.
No, not from the beginning. I'm talking about the higher position.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, once you get higher and higher up, you become more and more sociopathic with the experience
Yeah.
you have. Because that kind of work will turn a lot of people into a sociopath,
Yeah.
depending on the position. But
Yeah.
if it's just like a desk job or something like that, it's not going to do that. But
Yeah.
like the really high levels, like those kind of positions, the levels that you have to rise up in, like that kind of work can turn a person into a sociopath. Especially if you're really, really driven, like in your career field.
Right. Oh yeah. So I'm looking at special agent hierarchy, and I'll put it up here real quick. I think I'm gonna put it up here.
Well, special agents specifically, you basically have to be a sociopath to get into that job because no kidding, because like the whole job is lying and keeping secrets.
Right.
That's what the whole job entails, and like normal people don't want to lie and keep secrets for a living.
Right. Yeah. Well, I because they get sold that immediate thing. It's for your country and for the people, but it's not. It's not. It hasn't been. But so I guess there's different. There's special agent SGS 5 to GS 13, and then there's special agent in charge SAIC GS 15 or senior executive service. I think when you get to special agent in charge GS 15 or senior executive, it's too late. You've already been indoctrinated so much. Because I was going to go in too. I had a friend of mine that played tackle in high school with me, and then he went into the FBI like right after going into a community. He was playing for University of Hawaii when I was out there playing for a little bit. Um, I am not going to say his name, but he was telling me, hey, bro, you should go. And I go, I don't know. I don't think so. But anyway, so I don't know. It's been a while. I'm older world. I wonder if he's at least the like GS 15 level, or past the GS 13 level. And what's his mentality now? I wonder if he still thinks the same. Which if he's still in, he probably doesn't. You see what I mean? I think once you spend enough time in there, kind of like if when it's the same thing in the military. Once you're in the military, you public, the,
Public service.
yeah, well, just being a regular public citizen, or excuse me, of just a normal U.S. voting republic. You're not in the military, and you're just you're free, but this the way the continuous indoctrination process happens, on a daily basis, it keeps you in line. I've been in there. I know what it feels like. You get that hammered in your head, and it's subliminal. It comes in many different directions.
Well, you want
Yeah.
when you have the military, you want everybody to think the same. You don't want people to be individuals. You want it to be a unit,
Yeah. Oh, of
because
course.
you have one errant soldier, it can ruin a whole operation.
For sure.
Like
No,
I can
exactly.
I understand it logically from that point.
Yes,
I'm just
you're
very
absolutely
anti-war.
correct. Yeah, no, you get it. Absolutely correct. If your order is given, and my daughter, and she's pretty high up there on the totem pole. And I said, you know what? If you're given an order, you do it. Do what you got to do. I mean, and it's just the way it works. And I mean, when you saw the movie A Few Good Men, which the example was, think for yourself. When that one sergeant came in and said, what happened? What did we do wrong? We didn't fight for Willie. We didn't fight for Willie. You know, when you're in the military, you're not really fighting for any Willies at all. You're really not. I mean, it's all about, it's saying to protect. You're there to defend the people of the United States, but you're actually, if you've done the research and and most veterans will tell you, you're looking out for the interests of the corporation of America. That's what you're looking out for. That's what you're really fighting for. The corporation of the United States. And it sucks because, I mean, the pay isn't bad right now, but I mean, when you see $680 billion on average, give or take, since 9/11 per year on average going to the military industrial complex, which is a lot of fucking money, and you watch these people that still use food stamps, that are actually on the front lines, right? And people that are still having a hard time raising their families and stuff like that in the military. None of that money goes to them. It goes to, building bombs and a toilet seat for like $250, just stupid shit. So this entire system that we've created, and not we've created, that we've allowed to be created, is just really, really getting pretty nasty. Am I right, or am I right?
Yeah,
You've
that's
got
been for a
Zoom
long
links.
time.
You got Zoom links? Oh, I'm gonna send. Let me see. Snark. I'm sorry. What was? Sorry, I was reading. Are you guys? Who can see the YouTube?
I can.
You can. Okay, good. I'm sending. I think Snork's coming in. Snork is good to come in. You know why Snork's good to come in? Because he's got like a level something clearance. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, I forgot
And
about
and
that.
he can't
That's
talk about
right.
he can't talk about certain things, But the one thing that he's said a few times that I'm gonna go ahead and say, but I probably shouldn't, is that is in regards to the Hadron Collider of CERN that's in Switzerland or Sweden, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a 17-mile loop or something like that in radius. He said he's hinted or suggested or mentioned or maybe something that there's a bunch of them in the United States. There's a bunch of them in the United States. I'm just like, and I looked it up, and there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch.
Yeah, and
it's like
yeah,
public knowledge.
yeah. There's a bunch of different kinds of particle colliders and
Yeah.
like particle accelerators, and they all do different stuff, and they're
Yeah.
all over the world. There's huge ones. I mean, yeah. I think both you and I were talking about it one night.
Yeah, well, the only thing that I have a problem with is so one of the ladies, one of the top executives of the CERN project, and I showed it in one of my shows in the past, and I could probably just find it and type it in on YouTube. But I think I typed in CERN World Economic Forum, and I came up with, let me see, WEF, right? And it showed,
CERN?
yeah. And so what it is, and it's creepy, is that the World Economic Forum, basically, air snork is tied to everything that's, hey snork, everything
There he
that's
is.
dangerous that probably shouldn't be in their hands. I don't, and I'm concerned about these narcissistic sick fuckers. I mean, do you want Yuval Harari to be like in charge of something that powerful? I mean, is that the
No.
guy? Of course not, right? And this lady. Oh, Ben's here. Hey, Ben, what's up? And this lady's on here, um, just talking about it, and but she's part of the world. I mean, it's on. She's the background is the World Economic Forum, and she's talking about what it's going to do and all this other stuff. But those are the people you don't. I don't want. I want. I would rather have Snork, because I know Snork. He's been to
Well,
my house. I would rather
I,
have
I,
Snork involved with that.
again, I should clarify. I have no clearance,
You have no clearance
so
for what?
I'm a civilian. I have absolutely no
Oh, come
security
on.
clearance.
Now you don't have clearance.
I
Haven't
don't.
you
I
worked
don't.
on government contracts though?
I have. I mean,
That's what it was. That's what it was.
stuff that I worked on might have gone dark, but
Oh, there
Yeah.
you go.
I knew it was something like that.
But you were close, though. You were right there.
um, and then when it comes to CERN, think of CERN as a camera,
Uh-huh.
and what is known to the public, not secret. What has been shown in video, they've actually had cameras in there. They have things that are not cameras at like Lawrence, Livermore, and places like that. That can make changes to things.
Yeah, I don't trust
Much
the
more
stuff that
powerful.
we don't see.
No, I mean we've seen that. I mean that was on the news the other day when they used their equipment to cause fusion. So
Well, I'm
they
talking
are
about all the like stuff that you
nothing
don't really hear about much at other research facilities. Like,
right. But the
I
other
mean,
research facilities, that like the Hadron Collider, it
Mhm.
is something to monitor what's happening when a hadron breaks. Whereas the like Lawrence Livermore and those places like that, they can make things happen.
yeah, I know Cornell University has a research facility, and there's some really strange stuff going on. Like, okay, Cornell University has a lot of different research facilities in research, or you know what I mean. But they like there's like probably almost 100 of them, and the scientific ones are probably the scariest ones. Not all of them, but some of them, because it's like, oh, what if that thing blows up or something like that? An experiment. I mean, they're close to me. But they, they do experience, like, most of them are pretty normal, but if you read through it, sometimes, like, I'll find something that just makes me wonder, you know what I mean?
The funnest things was reading the boards where you would like apply to have a project. So like they would put out all kinds of oddball stuff. They'd put out new X-rays for or new ways to tell medical thing, alternatives to X-rays. But you'd flip to the next page and it'd say, "Any time travel ideas?"
Uh,
So you could see just a whole gamut. So what would happen is you take that number down and you'd say, I'm an investigator. I would like to investigate that. I would like money to go for it. So usually for an investigator, you've got to have at least a master's degree. You've got to have some credentials that you've worked at a place that you can do proper research. So you just can't walk in and ask for the money. But typically in each region, major cities will have like a call for new technologies, and that's where a lot of the stuff actually happens in the civilian world, out in private, or not in private, but out right in public. And then you have to sign a thing for if they decide that it's going to be compromising, that you won't disclose any data that you got after that. Sorry.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, there's some pretty crazy stuff out there. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, but like some people have problems. Like there was my wife had a cancer that was very difficult to see with X-rays. And one of the places I was at, so there's also the next phase is you go to these conferences that are like in Washington, D.C., where people show up and they talk about their different pieces of equipment, things they're working on. And went to one of those, and he had a new X-ray thing. So there are a lot of women in the service, and mammograms are painful for many women. And he had a new way to do mammograms, and he had horrible time getting any kind of funding from the government for it. He proved how it worked, proved the difference, and it also was able to see the kind of brain cancer that my wife had. And so it was really, really a good idea, but no congressman wanted it. You basically have to use these events to get a congressman to sign off on it. So
Yeah.
no congressman wanted to get anything on their record with them with the word breast.
Well, being a woman that has a lot of chronic health issues, like it's really hard to get ahead with women as far as like research, medical research goes, because like a lot of the research isn't even done on women, like drug studies. Most of them, or maybe not most of them, but the majority of them are done on men, because because of the hormonal fluctuations within just a short period of time for a woman, just during a study period. They want somebody with like steady hormones, steady system, something that's not going to constant fluctuation. So they do it on men, but it means like a whole group of people and possible side effects get rolled out, and these drugs are given to women after they're approved.
Well, even until the 90s, medical funding was basically considered women to be men with alternative plumbing.
Yeah.
And didn't go into the entire alternate set of chemistry. So one molecule in the human body floating around can have many different purposes depending on what other chemicals it senses with it. So with the women, you can have a different chemical being sensed than if it's with the men.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have the same exact chemical doing multiple completely different things. And so until like I said,
that explains everything.
That there were so many things that they
that explains everything.
They did not investigate because basically they thought that only thing that was different was just a few little places on the body.
Okay, so the synapses, the connectors, the chemical process, right, or the like the electric. Just saying, be, because it's. I mean, fundamentally, it's the same, but could that also change how our perception is? That's my question.
Well,
It's
yeah, but on my what I'm getting at is
uh,
it's like we've only been studying these things for 30 years.
oh
I
yeah,
know
I
that
guess
there were people in the past that did study it, but it wasn't really
Well,
prevalent.
right.
they haven't really studied autism in women until like maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, autism is a predominantly male disease disorder, and it's like, no, male and female brains are different, so they would, manifest symptoms differently. So it's
Oh,
like, by just completely ruling out studying women and taking that neurological difference in the brain into consideration, there's no women with autism up until like 5 years ago because they didn't study women.
Yeah.
Like zero studies on women up until like 5 or 10 years ago.
that's your
There was
point.
an
That's a good point. That's the point. So we're not studying a female body. By the way, there are females and there are males. That's all I know of that's out there. By the way, is that they're using it generally, the human body generally for a lot of studies, right? When the female body reacts, from what you're saying and from what she's saying, from what I've heard and seen, is that it's almost like a different creature. It's like a different Homo sapien in a sense. So you
yeah
can't
from
have the same results, or it might be different, or maybe the testing process isn't done to allow for these types of differences in the chemical imbalances or the way the nerves fire off and the synapse. Am I making kind of
well
some sense?
a good example of it
No,
is the
you're making
chemical
sense.
the
Okay, good.
chemical oxytocin. So it has different purposes when in different situations. So like it can actually start the birth. So levels of oxytocin can start the birth process. Can start milk. So it's after the birth process. It's because I'm free. I can do another purpose. So it can start milk.
Uh,
It can
they'll
do all different types of things in the body
Yeah,
depending on what's.
they'll actually tell women, some women, if they're overdue, to have sex with their partner
Yeah.
to put them into labor. So
And
yeah, it's so crazy.
so, but I mean, just that one chemical, so many different purposes depending on the situation you're in. So, our knowledge and our ability to process large amounts of data are also very small. One of the things that I run into is we don't have enough data processing before we get to the amount of data processing we really need is to almost equal to what people 20 years ago would have had for a degree in computer science. And we need that for their first year in college now. We don't get that. So I've got students coming in. I need to teach them how to manipulate data. And in just a few days, I need to get them to be able to understand how to manipulate data. And that's especially after COVID, when they lost so much schooling that's going on. But we have to get, just like we had to learn how to deal with cars, we have to learn how to deal with these new levels of technology that help us process large amounts of data. We don't need neural links. We just need to understand how to use math. And we're having a math problem in this country that people do not know. We have very few people in the United States that are taking proper levels of math.
It's not just math, it's the literacy rate. Like the literacy problem is really bad.
We do have some literacy problem. We have a problem that we no longer have anybody are very few people that can actually teach math and be understood by an American. That's how bad it goes. So if these countries stop supplying us with mathematicians, let's say there's an argument, we no longer let people from a certain country come here, and we've done this, then we are going to be without math teachers. And we need to either be very friendly with these countries, or we need to start realizing that we need to train people how to be math teachers again. I'm actually helping teaching a class in math because there aren't enough math teachers that understand electronics math.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the one country that should know should be right here.
Now, so the age range that you're teaching right now, would they be the same age range that was introduced to what is it called? Oh, Common Core math?
I'm not sure. They should have all been
like
Common Core, Common Core at least.
Yeah, even slightly before. I mean, there was some school districts that were like starting it before Common Core went into effect. So like even like a little bit older.
I have students from 17 years old all the way up to 60 years old. We have a really wide range of ages for our students.
But do you find the math issues are more in that age range?
No.
Really?
It's surprising. So I've got in this one current class, I've got students that are a couple that are in their 40s, and the majority of them are about just getting out of high school, and they're almost the same situation, almost exactly the same.
I can understand getting older and just like losing the. I've lost a lot of. Yeah, basically. That's understandable. What's crazy is that it's about equal, because the young ones are fresh out of school. They should still have all that in the brain.
No, they're fresh out of COVID school. The pressures of the students during going to school during COVID were extreme. Many of them did not have easy access to the internet, or their parents had to use the internet for work. So very few houses, especially out here, had the bandwidth to have 4 people using the internet full time at once.
Well, I mean, I think it's been pretty well known throughout the whole thing that this whole school closure thing was basically white well-to-do issue. Like, if you lived in a poor rural area, or just a rural area with like spotty internet, or
white, I would just say
okay, maybe not white, but yeah, a wealthy issue.
Because the wealthy people had this equipment. The wealthy people were making the decisions. They thought, well, just use your internet. There are farmers out here in Iowa that are wealthy too. Yeah, they don't have internet. Mm-hmm. If they're let's go back only as far as 2005. If you were living in the country, you couldn't get more than 256 baud modems. I mean, not K, not megabyte, not gigabyte. 256 characters, or 50,000 characters per minute. That's it.
It was like dial-up.
That was just a little bit.
That was dial-up.
Yeah, there's a lot of people where I live that they live so it's like unless you live in like one of the population centers like I do, which I live in the county seat. It's the biggest city in the county, and it's like 6,500 people. So unless you don't live here or like a couple other towns in county, you can't get a fiber optic. So you don't even get cable. So you're getting whatever they offer through the phone company now. What is it? Fios? Is it Fios? No, that's fiber optic. Anyway, they still have to get their internet through the phone company. So
we still have people out here using DSL.
Yeah, that's what it is. DSL.
AOL is still around, right?
Yeah, no, but out here, a lot of towns, when the poor kids needed to use the internet, they had to go to McDonald's, and
Yep.
they might be
Yeah.
sharing, just getting their classes
Yeah.
off of a cell phone.
Yeah, during
And
lockdown, I lived right in front of the library, and they made their Wi-Fi password free, I think, during lockdown, so kids
a
could
lot of
use it. And
McDonald's, a lot of
there
places
was,
actually did.
yeah, there was a
Starbucks.
lot of people going to the library and sitting outside and
Yeah.
using it,
There were
even
people
in the
working from
cold
home.
weather.
Yeah.
But out here, a lot of towns don't have McDonald's. So
Yeah,
McDonald's, the limit is usually 5,000 people. So you could pop into a town, you see a McDonald's, there's 5,000 people. You don't see a McDonald's, they don't have 5,000 people.
I mean, I can't imagine what the parents did in the outer, like the much smaller towns here, because
Yeah.
like
Well, I know what they did here.
you get off of the main street, and then boom, there's like all it is phone,
I know what they did here
phone internet.
because over here, the internet, not in my town, but maybe 50 miles from here, there was no phones capable of hitting the internet. So you get onto the areas of the rural areas, really rural, you get out more than 4 miles from a cell phone tower, you start to lose the signal strength to be able to use anything. And by the time you're 10 miles out, you've got nothing. I'd have people calling me up and asking me if I could help them put an extension, or there are things you can do to boost a signal on. And it's not really a great thing to do. But they were looking for options, and there's problems getting, electronic materials that we could get for $1.99 before COVID. We were talking about spending $16 to $20, and now it's fallen back to about $12 for what we're paying now. So items that, let's see, I should have one up here somewhere. Items that I would give to a student that I would consider so cheap that I would give them to the students. So I just said, I'd rather have the students have a fresh one every year. I would just get one ready for the students and hand them out. But for a whole class, I'd be spending no more than $40. And all of a sudden, they're $20 a piece. And there was a 6 to 8 week lead time. Well, I needed them for class right away. So it was a major problem. So like this little device here, it's called an Arduino. It's a little computer, and allows us to teach everything we need to. But like I said, before COVID, this was $1.99. I have a bunch that I actually got at $1 a piece. And those same exact ones are just off the roof. And there was a long time we couldn't get them, and I'm guessing that there's going to be a long time that we can't get them again because the recent problems we're having in China again. But
there's just supply chain issues all around, even in the U.S. right now, because we're having we keep running out of dairy products in like a dairy county. It's
yeah,
crazy. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
do you like ketchup?
Yeah.
Not much.
Hoard.
I use it, but
If you like ketchup, hoard it now. Of course, it's only good
Tomatoes?
for like 6 months.
is it because of the tomatoes?
Yep. Tomatoes, onions. There's going to be an onion shortage. California lost its tomato and onion crop, so they could get water. So they could send water to the tomatoes and onions, or they could send water to the Los Angeles. So Los Angeles water system got it, and So our supplies, 4 to 6 months down the line are starting to go down. Luckily, there are other places that you can get some tomatoes, but the other places you can only grow them in the summer. California, we can grow tomatoes in the winter.
Do you think it's
So,
Well,
do you
I
think this
have
is
friends
normal?
that can't. I have friends that grow all their like a bunch of have these like vegetable gardens and they do all their own canning and stuff. So
yeah, that's going to be a place you want to go visit.
yeah, it's
So
either
right
Pennsylvania or
now,
Vermont.
a lot of the chickens in Western Iowa are being killed because of a disease going around killing chickens.
Yeah,
Um,
that's been happening in New York. It's been cycling, but
yeah,
they've been killing off massive amounts of um chickens in New York too. It's crazy.
yeah. So, but
I just gotta say, look, the shortages. Okay, I don't buy it. I don't buy any of it. I don't
oh,
buy the diseases. I don't buy the weather. I don't buy any of this because I've seen stuff happen like this in the past. I've been around for
yeah,
a
and
long
this
time.
this has happened in the past, but
Yeah, but
this
not to this
this
extent.
not to this extent.
Yeah,
And also, a lot
That's
of
the
what's
biggest
happening
giveaway. That's all I'm
with the
saying.
materials coming from China
That's not
isn't.
helpful too because we get a lot of stuff from South America.
But
A
right
lot
now,
of
with
feed
China,
too.
the the factories aren't able to operate. They don't have enough water. See, we're not the only ones with water problems. A lot of the factories are shut down during the daytime to save electricity because the water isn't able to provide them electricity. So they're like having people take 4 hours naps in the middle of the day so that there would be more power. They were asking uh, uh, factories to work at night so they could get by easier. And but they were basically saying that you had to shut down and actually take at least I can't remember if it was a 2 or a 4 hour nap every day. Um, and
I'm okay with that.
well, I'm sure it had ramifications,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, the thing is China's got the Three Gorges Dam.
shut down.
Yeah, but because there's not enough water.
There's not enough water.
But the reasons why there's not enough water is like all this fucking factory farming, all these bottling operations, and using the water for like just all these mass operations instead of like
Yeah, yeah.
sustainable farming, and not in a UN kind of sense of sustainable farming, but like using ancient techniques that have been proven to work.
Mhm.
No, actually,
And
the new methods are better. Not the row crop ones, but the ones that are being done in what's called control environment farming, where that uses 10% of the amount of water used to grow crops. What was considered before permaculture, the previous better way. So when you're growing it outside, no matter what you do, the water is getting released to the air. When you grow it in a controlled environment where you recapture it, that's the only way we can do it. So right now, where does most of the water go? Most of it is expended through what's called transpiration expiration. No, that's not right. Transpiration is part of a way that the plant basically breathes by pushing water out, but I forgot the proper term for it. So most of the water is just it's what the plant uses because it doesn't have a heart. So you're going to lose water to get its gas flow and everything else. So the way to get around it is basically condense the water and reuse it. And we pretty much need to fund a large part of our agriculture to turn to these methods. We can't, when we have 8 billion people, very, very
Uh-oh.
small amount of the part of the planet that is livable, that is farmable, that has enough water, this is called load, is actually able to support people. So there's huge areas of the desert. People can't live in the desert unless they have a way to get water out to them. We no longer have the water to take out to the desert. So what happens is we looks like we have this huge country, but a whole lot of all of the land west of the Missouri River is almost unlivable until you get almost to the coastline, then or along rivers, and a lot of our rivers are going dry. But if you the areas where people live tend to be along coastlines, and that was because of the availability of water, availability of being able to transport things. Now that we are having problems with water, like I was saying, I was trying to bring up Three Gorges Jam. I'll go back to that later. But the with the problem is that we do not really have much load left. I mean, there's an island out in the Pacific that I helped a few years back. They have enough natural resources to provide for 500 people. They have 100,000 people. They had to sell the rights to fish to Japan to be able to buy water. They had to sign away other stuff so that they could have money to buy food. So they're not allowed to fish their own water. They used to fish. So the amount of area they have realistically is more people than what they could hold. They need to move away. But
so they need less people? Or are you trying to say they need? Please don't say that, Snork.
They do need less people.
What?
Or
okay, let me
need less people, or they
chime in
here,
if you don't mind.
What can we do to get more people or more resources to the people?
Let me just say this is important to know. There are more pipelines for oil, thousands, coming that are moving across North America, Canada, and the United States. There you can count on your hands and toes how many water lines are coming from the northern parts of the planet that have fresh, clean drinking water. And there's another thing called reverse osmosis or desalination.
I know there is.
Yeah.
But
so my point is I don't think we have a water problem. Because this actually happened as somebody did a study on this in regards to the Hoover Dam and Lake Mead over in Nevada, Arizona, Nevada border, right? Or New Mexico, whatever. But so Colorado, the Colorado River, I think it is, right, that runs through there. Mm-hmm. That has a ton of water that goes through, that comes through. There was actually in the past 3 to 5 years an immense amount of flooding in Colorado, etc., in certain areas. And all that water all of a sudden just disappeared by the time it got to Lake Mead or the Hoover Dam. The thing that they found out, now there's a little thing that people don't realize that these dams have. It's called a spigot. They can release water and they can hold water as long as they need or want. And what has been happening is the release of the water through the Hoover Dam. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about because it goes through constantly. I've been there several times, and it's always got a flow. There's always water going through there. But the biggest thing is there's water everywhere on this planet. You can make water just by digging a hole and getting a plastic bag and putting a rock in the center of it and just letting the moisture from the soil or from the air itself just kind of condensate and drip off the end of that other side of I think you guys have seen that before. But when I hear the thing that there's not enough water, It's just so we don't know what desalination is. We don't know what reverse osmosis is. We can't have more pipelines coming from you know
It's
Iceland
not that
or
it's
go
not
ahead.
that we can't desalinate.
Yeah,
It's that we don't have the supplies out there. We either have to get the supplies to them,
like to
or
build a
we need
pipeline.
to get them to no, I mean, a pipeline out to the middle of the ocean.
No, a
What
pipe.
we need to do is either get the supplies for them to make their water from desalination, or we need to help them move.
So we're gonna
We,
relocate people.
well, if there's only let's say if we use desalination, we could probably get by with having more than 10 or 15,000 people on the island. The island is very small. They're already purchasing land off in other countries, so this one island. But we either have to stop allocating everything to bombs and putting it into pipelines or putting it into whatever. Or
Yeah, I
or
think you
yeah,
just said
if
what I'm talking about. You kind of answered my question because we put more money into shit we don't need, and that's not necessary than the stuff that we do need that can be beneficial. When I
right,
hear
but
when I hear
if we
about
don't buy the
California and these
beneficial stuff,
droughts, I'm sorry.
yeah, if we don't buy the beneficial stuff to happen,
Yeah,
it's the same as it not being available.
just get some pipelines. I'd get some water pipelines coming from the north where the glaciers
Is
are.
is there any profit in scarcity?
There is,
And
yeah,
and I mean, like,
massive,
also is there profit by us not being creative,
massive.
or is there profit in us not, like, being,
You want the
aware of
people.
this, aware of, things like that, important decisions like that might affect our water,
You want to
like I
wait
guess
till the
I
last minute.
shared that with you, that story about the salt batteries that could replace lithium batteries that are like 500,000 gallons of water to produce a ton of the lithium or
Yeah,
something. So like if you were, to see that succeed, or to see other alternative energies and more efficiencies succeed, that would be not profitable then, right?
one of the problems with profit is
Huh.
you don't want the public knowing about an answer until you've already cornered the market before they find out that they need to buy that from you. So it's
No, I think it's like perpetually profitable to keep say inefficient vehicles or system of vehicles
yeah.
around.
I do think we've had manipulation to keep us on gas cars for a long time. There are multiple alternatives, and realistically,
And
should have
gaslighting,
been.
because it's gaslighting in the point of saying, oh, we have to use this technology to get to the next.
But I
We're seeing
really
them. Let's redo all nuclear weapons. Let's blah 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 blah. Like, how do you, I guess
I would
from
like to see
top point
more
of view, I
electric.
guess, yeah, it'll keep, from their numbers and projections, it'll keep carrying on for them, so they can just do whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean,
But
I don't know.
I would like to
I
see.
respect scientists and I respect some people, but it's just other people. It's like Santayana says. He's like, being ready to go to war, and a soldier is commendable and excellent, for something I forgot the word. For a general, it is, what did he say? Kind of a risk, and he's like, for a leader, it's outright criminal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
let me.
To be all ready to go to war. Maybe I'll find the quote.
No, that's good information, and that's yeah. We need to. There's so many different ways to solve a lot of these problems that are pretty basic in my opinion. But there's also some kind of like Ben's bringing up. But there's some nefarious stuff happening, like in regards to the Mojave Desert out in California. And I actually witnessed this happen because my uncle Bill, who has a place out there, who used to have water by the tons coming from the underwater basin. I guess that'd be what, an aqueduct or something like that.
yeah,
But what happened is Nestle came in, paid a bunch of politicians to take ownership of this aqueduct, this underground, just giant river of water that's been running through there for millions of years, probably, to own access to it. and you had to pay them now. I mean, there used to be these catfish farms. Look it up, Newberry Springs, California, and he had like a 7 or 8 acre plot of land and a cool house, and he had this giant pond with a bridge going over a little island, and we used to go catfishing, and we had to shoot the catfish because they wouldn't die from a bat because they were so freaking big. They were like as big as my leg, and and then all of a sudden this happened and just dried up everything, and nobody could use these, and he had these wells that you could go to Home Depot, they would sell them, and they were just drills that went down, I don't know, 40, 50, 60, 100, whatever, 200 feet or something, I don't know, not very far. And all of a sudden you got a geyser, like you struck oil of water, and you had to tap it. But the thing is there's these situations as well, that when you have Nestle, this giant company, just basically stealing the rights from everybody else. This happened. I'm looking for the news feeds on it, but I'm showing just the aqueduct and all that stuff right now. But this actually happened to a lot of people. So there's a lot of things out there that are happening that are completely man-made, that could actually that are just doing very detrimental and destructive things to your average farmer or your average owner, lander. These people just taking, just stealing. It's just amazing. It's sad. And then you have the other thing of the technology we're not investing, was what Snork is bringing up, right? Basically, just we're doing the wrong things. I mean, it's amazing how idiotic we've become over the amount of time.
As I'm looking for that quote, let me just say another quote real quick, which is we not so much lack ignorance. We're not so much guilty of ignorance as we are of witlessness.
Oh, I like that. Who said that?
That's Montaigne.
Oh, nice.
We're not so much guilty of. I finally got it. Oh yeah, we're not so much guilty of ignorance as we are witlessness, and then I guess that would be a translation from French. So, yeah. I mean, I guess it's like creativity. It's like being creative, imagining something. Because like you were saying, because that's what you kind of sparked that, and I was kind of thinking that anyway, like about that island or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or I mean, and then it goes into other questions. We don't need to go on any tangents like that. But yeah, I'm still trying to find. I'm actually going to try to find that Santiago quote because he said it better than I did.
Hey Ben, are you still teaching school?
I am not. No, I'm not. Okay, I'm just I'm door dashing.
Oh yeah, a buddy of mine I used to sell cars with. This guy used to make like 140 grand a year.
I don't recommend it.
He's door dashing too. He's doing Uber Eats. Yeah, it's all right. Money's money, man. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But yeah, so a lot of the reason why I asked you that question is we were talking earlier about how the lockdowns. Now we're kind of switching gears a little bit. I'm sorry, and just the access, and I witnessed firsthand, going back in our conversation, of watching a 5 or 6, 7, 8-year-old, or I think it was 7 or 8 at the time, witness this kid going to school on a PC, a laptop, but other kids were not able to attend school because they didn't have that technology. And this is West Virginia. I mean, there's just so many things right now that the point I'm kind of getting to is it's 2022. Artemis just circled supposedly around the moon, which I think actually happened. For some reason, it didn't get any pictures, I don't think, of the moon landing.
Oh, it got pictures.
Oh, it did? Like full picture? Okay, good. Okay. And then the thing is it's like, is it just me, Snork? But it doesn't seem like we're putting our effort, energy, time, resources into the right thing to keep everybody happy. I'm not, and I know anytime I hear somebody say 8 billion people or this many people, it gets to me because that's not the issue. It's not how many. That's not the issue. The issue is what we're doing for those people because we have the technology. You can split particles like we were talking about earlier with CERN, right? Hadron Collider smashing atoms, with these giant 17-mile radius, you know, accelerators. But for some reason, we're having issues with just providing just the simplest and most prevalent resource on the planet to people. It just fucking doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. But there's a lot of reasons why. There's a lot of reasons why. I'm not. I'm just saying, population isn't the problem ever. It's because we're going in the wrong directions with our technology. I think our directions for the populace of the world should be moving through space and time and finding planet B. I watch it all the time where we have they in just like 10, 15 years ago they found like a dozen planets in the Goldilocks areas, right? Where they think that it's similar to Earth's position from a star or sun to where it could be somewhat habitable. Now they're at thousands and thousands of these things that they're seeing, and they could be. So that's where our technology is. Because guess what? Like the movie Moana, we're voyagers. We're nomadic by nature. We're going to keep traveling. We need to put more energy in that it's just our species, and don't be bummed out about it, but yes, we are going to eat up that planet too, and we're going to go on to the next one. And I don't think that there's a species out there across the galaxy or the universe that doesn't do the same fucking thing that we are already doing, but just at a different pace or in a different way. Maybe they do go from planet to planet, but then they leave the old planet and they let it flourish, and they come back to it. When the soil's better, a couple of 100,000 years later. Who knows? That sounds like a good plan. But my point is I don't think that we have the I don't think that the people that are really in charge, and I'm going to bring up the World Economic Forum, ETAL, and everybody that's involved. I don't think their motives are in the right direction. I don't think. Am I making sense, anybody? Because I really think that we have to start focusing on the necessities of our nature. We're voyagers.
Well,
We're nomadic. Go ahead.
what I was trying to get at is like it's it's a manufactured thing. Like if it wasn't for, like, say, I don't know, military, all the shit that goes into that, um the factories the water that these factories use for all this shit that we don't need, the planned obsolescence, just getting rid of planned obsolescence alone, boom,
Majority of our
that would
water
cut so
actually,
much stuff.
yeah,
I
majority
agree.
of our actual water for here, in this region, is going for making ethanol. So our aquifers, Ogallala, we share the aquifer with Nebraska, basically got emptied in like 10 years of when the ethanol plants went online. So the ethanol plants were a way for us to take corn and make it into fuel for cars. And out in
Well,
many
and
of these
then
states out
the
here,
government
it's,
comes into play with that too, because the government is the one that subsidizes it to be grown and converted into ethanol, and it's actually more. It actually costs more than it makes in money.
yeah, a
So the
lot of
government
this.
has like if there's ways of making biofuel that is better than making ethanol out of corn that are also it doesn't go into the red, also makes some kind of profit. So it's like
You could actually make diesel um, and some gasoline just by taking sewage and putting it in seawater. And
yeah, I can see how that could work.
we don't invest in that. That's actually how our current oil was made. I mean, it wasn't made on purpose that way, but that's the natural way that it happened. That bacteria is still out there. That
that makes that technology so much smarter. Oh my god, I didn't really think about that.
So I mean, our plants are right near the coastlines, but a lot of places make money selling leases and for the oil. So you need to get the oil.
Well, using that kind of method that would cut a lot of electricity out of the production of it too, because it would be like one facility for two things. You know what I mean?
It's also illegal.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Well, you specify though, right? It's illegal to do research.
It's illegal because it doesn't have enough sulfur in it.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I thought it was illegal because you couldn't do university research for it.
No, you have to have a certain amount of sulfur so that the regulations are fit.
Oh, for the smell.
Capable. No. It's a stupid, really stupid. They want you to have a certain amount of sulfur so that you can remove it. And realistically, I say that if it doesn't have any, you don't need to remove it. So they're saying though that since there's none to remove, you can't remove it, so you can't make it.
You see, I thought the sulfur was in there for the smell, so you can smell the gas fumes and stuff.
No.
Wow, that's like the biggest lie. Holy shit!
It's like
that's for
the biggest
natural gas.
Fucking lie.
That's for natural gas for your house, and it's actually a skunk, artificial skunk pheromone. It's very light levels. But
you know how long I've been told that my whole life. And it's not that it's just like, just the adults in my life. It's like you hear this from like sometimes you hear it from what do I want to say? Like you hear it from like government agencies and stuff. Like regulatory agencies, like warnings on gas and stuff. Wow.
There's all kinds of really stupid stuff out there. Yeah. Like coal, you can also make
like is complex as legalese and our laws are and our legal system. Like, oh yeah, you just can't do this because more.
But you can also make really low sulfur coal from sewage. Smells horrible, but there's a professor out in Illinois that's been doing it for like 20 years, and he's got the cleanest coal there is. Basically, the coal burns as clean as diesel. I mean, that's not perfect, and you still need to scrub it if you're going to use power for it. But you don't have to dig mines for it.
I think I'm a kind of purist on the technology, and I want it to be extremely environmentally like benign and basically natural, harmonious, whatever is possible, and try to clean up actually the damage that's been done. And so I'm worried that like we're gonna figure out how to grow food like 10 times. I mean, okay, let me digress and say this is something else I wanted to say, which is that right. I think in terms of slaughtering animals and things like that, it's like some kind of if somebody's like, I respect vegans and vegetarians. I was a vegetarian, have vegan in my family, so whatever. But honestly, if you're gonna be like too afraid to slaughter an animal, let your fellow citizens, people die, your family die, what the hell? Like honestly, there's no question about it, and I think that's the tradition of 10,000 years. And then there's a basic humanity is keeping us all here. But I think that I know I'm way macro scale here, but or look big picture here, but I think the power, the things that are going on, and all these companies, they're kind of trapped. And they're stuck. They're like, well, oh, I don't want people like realize like what we've been doing. It's like, oh, so we have to keep doing it. Like,
Yeah,
like
I get what you're
we don't want to
saying.
be
It's
pinned on
just
this. We
like
don't want to lose our
giving
power,
its own
whatever.
tail.
Like these inefficiency schemes and stuff, and like how toxic some of this stuff is, and how silly. So that okay. And now that I've prefaced the hell out of this, I'll say like I don't think it's cool. Like I mean I don't know. We figure out how to grow plants with 10 times less water, and then what do we do with it? Go burn coal, go, blah, 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 everything horrible, probably. It's so sad because take it, run with it, make extra money, whatever, money, money, money. But yeah, I agree. I like your point about the military and both resources and money, what that burns up. And
Well,
I like my own point about the creativity aspect that we could come up with better, so much other things, and it would be so much like levels of good that would ideally I think or possibly come from all that.
as far as what you're talking about, I honestly think that we could solve a lot of these issues with hemp because hemp biofuel, you can replace the corn, all these like
No, I like plastic more than hemp. No, I want plastic everywhere, not hemp everywhere. Gosh, it's so silly.
but bioplastic from hemp.
No,
And
no,
the thing is, the hemp fields clean the pollutants out of the air and also out of the soil. So any emissions from the hemp,
I mean, these guys don't make enough money with their oil.
gets
They gotta have
cleaned
plastic
out.
too. God damn. No, I'm sorry. We do plastic. I'm being silly. I'm stoned.
the best one is not hemp. It's can't think of the name. Bamboo.
Oh yeah, bamboo is great too.
Bamboo's like 100 times better than hemp for the way it sequesters for thousands of years. It grows so fast and it sucks up so much carbon dioxide so fast. And
what about for making little totes and stuff? And I'm just really interested in alternative packaging.
Yeah.
Oh, bamboo fabric is so nice. It's fabulous.
And
I love bamboo fabric.
you can actually use the bamboo to purify water and squeeze it out and keep on using it to grow other bamboo. So I mean it's a wonderful thing. It's always best to say don't try to use a product, but usually try to think of what properties I want out of what the action I'm going to do. So if I'm trying to purify water.
Bamboo grows really well in the Pacific Northwest, by the way.
I didn't know about the Northwest.
Does bamboo also like clean out like heavy metals and like chemicals and stuff like that out of the soil and stuff?
It does.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I
forgot about bamboo. But hemp does have its own place too. There's a lot of other stuff that you can do with hemp too.
Hemp can be grown in Montana, North Dakota, areas that a lot of other things aren't feasible to grow. So when you harvest hemp as hemp, it has a very long life. And there's things that you grow up north. I mean, like sugar beets are growing up in North Dakota, things that don't need to be to market in 3 days. Stuff like tomatoes where you got to get it out, or actually potatoes, they need to make it to for potatoes for potato chips have to be cut within days. So our different things that we have limits on when and where we can grow them. And what really comes back to is every action we take has some negative impact. Even breathing, we need to get it down to the point where we're thinking about how do we make up for everything that we do. So if I use a package, there should be some easy way for the package material to be taken away. If we're producing waste, we shouldn't be drying it up and dumping it in the ocean. We should be trying to reuse it as much as possible. And
Yeah, well,
instead,
all
what we
this
do is,
single-use stuff is killing the planet.
yeah. And
And like I
realistically, we're
said, the
not,
planned obsolescence too with the electronics, because like you have your phone for only so long, and then one day they're like, well, we're not going to support this phone anymore, and you
I
literally
know,
cannot use it for anything anymore.
it's sad because of how
Wouldn't
much the
wouldn't it be
cost.
intelligent? Wouldn't it be intelligent for people like in the medical system and like people just to realize, oh yeah, you know, even though it's more profitable for people to just be sicker and sicker, like that, like you know, like I don't know, like just to give a shit, because like I mean, I think there's an illusion that like, oh, it's not gonna affect me because I got all this money. What the fuck? I think I don't know. I don't really know if you can escape this. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's all about profits. They keep this disgusting cycle going on of just, you know, complete consuming, and it's all about profits. It's the only thing they care about. Because you make something reusable, or you make something that can be fixed, and you're not, the customers aren't coming back every 2 years to spend the same amount on a new thing.
Yeah,
I think we need better journalism, people talking about what's happening with a lot of these smaller countries with economic stuff, and it's pretty serious, and like the war in Ukraine type of stuff, and it's pretty serious, and just like the COVID was affecting, and all that people have talked about this, multiple things affecting everybody right now, and I think we're seeing it that clearly. It's we live in this sensationalized, normalized, equivocating every news story with one another, and you know, some things are pretty I don't know, more significant, okay? Have more
Yeah,
significance.
yeah.
yeah, but we don't talk about what we're going to do with something after it's become waste. For me, plastic, we should be collecting it. We should be wrapping it up into little balls, and we should be putting it underneath roadways. Because what do you want underneath a roadway? You want something that's going to last forever. And,
what if you had like an encasing around that? Like,
yeah.
or it could be like a spray, it could be whatever. It could be a further attempt to keep it like trapped, contained right there.
James,
and deal with like water on top, like, or something like that to cause it to, I don't know. But then again, it would crack, like it would probably have cracks. I don't know.
James, you're
But
muted.
still, all that could be engineered. Fun puzzle. Yeah.
You're muted.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. No, so you guys are talking about using or reusing. Let's just say instead of getting a bag, a cup, a straw, a lid for the cup, a container every time you go through McDonald's, et cetera, all these, there's 250,000 plus fast food restaurants throughout the United States and a bazillion of them all over the world. And all this product and all this plastic and all this trees, whatever. So what if you just went and you took a bag and you took your little tin can to have them fill up the same bag you used before, but the service would be that they do a quick wash if you needed of that utensil or that plate or that container for the fries instead of using a different container every fucking time. I think that would help, right? I think there's so many different
Jugs. Just jugs and
just
what they did before.
Yeah, just did like, I mean,
clay.
Yeah, for me, I carry like the same jug, that I can for my water, right? I use the same cups. It's just like, why can't we just take those to the drive-through and say, okay, Phil, here's my container for my Coke, which kills me.
We actually do that
here. Gas stations have perks where you can fill up your cup for your own cup for a hell lot cheaper than getting a specific size.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that should be subsidized.
But it's really a gas station thing. I don't see it anyplace else.
I still use my little mug. Sometimes I only want a little cup of water, or maybe a little cup. And so I mean, like to fill this with, I think it's 2 liters. It'd be $1.
Yeah,
I
my
never
sister
did.
has like a 80 something ounce metal jug for her water.
And
It's like 84 ounces
We
or
can do
something.
bulk
It's
purchases at
huge.
stores. We can get basically like the 5 gallon, 3 gallon things, two, one, whatever, 1.5, and fill it up at the those dispensers that are like 39 cents or whatever it would be per gallon. I did that for a long time. I need to get back into it. Doing that.
Oh,
I
instead of
also
buying
I
individual
used to I
bottled
used to fill
water?
up a 3 and a 5 gallon all the time, and it was way cheaper that way. I mean, it's going
Yeah.
up, just like purified water or something. And but no, yeah, like the bulk places, the bulk sections, that would be nice. I think that they should give a bigger discount for doing that, and then if you bring your own bag or something.
I'd kind of like to see open face burgers, or not open face. That's not the right term. But who says I can't go out and buy like 10 hamburgers all on a plate and not all individually wrapped?
No, yeah.
Sometimes I went to McDonald's once this week. I
Oh,
had I had this is my being cheap, but I had my my
I go to.
my burger wrapped in a cardboard container, and then that was in a bag. And realistically, I really didn't need the bag and that. And so I have this app for McDonald's, and basically, like every week, I can get like a burger half off, and I'll go on that day and I'll buy that burger
Yep, I've
and
done
eat
it
that
too.
on my way home. And then when I get home, I go right to bed.
Yeah, after eating McDonald's,
Yeah,
I got to
Marble.
take
Yeah,
a nap.
Marble has Marble points too.
Yeah, so you guys can't see this, but I've got I'll show you my see if the YouTube's up. But when I used to be a general manager at a pizza place in by Anaheim, it's OG's Pizza and Brewery. We used to order, which most restaurants ordered their uh, take home containers and delivery containers, the styrofoam, the plastic, the microwavable containers and cups and stuff from this company. It's the paper company, a division of Imperial Dad. And their warehouse is gigantic, and I've been in it several times. And they have these places everywhere. These people would go out of business if everybody brought a bag to McDonald's with a little container and a bottle to put in their drink. You see what I'm saying? There's they won't. And these people contribute to legislators, judiciaries, executives, etc. To keep this stuff moving. It's their products that when you go to the beach, and when I used to take my kids to the beach all the time, the one thing that I told them you have to do because of the Hawaiian gods is you have to take pollution and you got to pick up some trash and put it in the trash container before you leave. We always did that. That's just one of the number one things we did. But the thing is the thing we saw the most were straws and lids for cups, and then a lot of
Yeah,
styrofoam cups, just everywhere. That's like the most prevalent thing you would see lining the beaches, and even if you go to the lakes, you'd see them too.
You know what though? It's a pretty good reason to like to ruin it all. Let's just ruin it all for that because we can't invent anything different after 60 years. Let's just keep doing that
Right,
forever. We'll try to do it as long as possible, and then
right,
we'll just we'll ruin the whole thing for these like dozen things that could be totally addressed and creatively responded to. But
right.
because can't I don't know. I guess like how do you threaten $100 million industry? Like what I mean? Easily. Like it's like they're gonna see you coming. You're starting out this other business or whatever. You're starting out this other because you could straight up advertise on that like, hey, I'm this new burger place and I'm doing this thing like super ethically.
They'll
And
find a way to stifle it for sure. You know, they'll find
Yeah.
a way to stifle their to keep you from taking their profits, and that's the problem. Is we run into that. You
Yeah,
run in,
yeah.
you
Well,
know.
isn't it always the same deal? It's just like oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
trying to pour coffee at the same time. No, it's isn't it the same thing as just isn't always scale? Aren't they always out just out scaling you, out connectioning, I guess on top of that, if not, but you know, isn't it the same thing? It's like
Oh,
it's not about competition.
No, they
well,
It's, I
corner
mean,
the
because I mean,
market.
how do
These
you enter the
companies
cell phone
corner
market?
the
How do I start a
market
cell phone company? It's going
on
to be
their
how much money
products,
to
though,
get
Ben.
into? So I don't have the capital or something.
No, they corner the market.
I don't know.
They're monopolized. There are smaller, like when that place didn't have certain things, we go into, which was the Korean district, which is weird, but they had products in these little stores but they couldn't compete with these guys. They were
well, I mean,
everywhere.
look at
And
the
by the way, real
old.
quick, my cell phone would be so different, like so different. It would look so different, completely different. So I have
Look at
multiple ones that would be all different things, completely different than anything I've ever seen. And so fuck them, and fuck the uniformity, conformity, unimaginativeness.
Yeah.
look at the old Chinese takeout boxes. They were brilliant, and most people don't realize what was it. So we call them Chinese, but it's really came out of San Francisco.
Oh,
So a lot of what we call Chinese here in the United States is San Francisco Chinese based. And but
Chinatown
they
in San
can't.
Francisco is bomb. I've been there a bunch of times.
But the Chinese tend to share after they get their order. So the boxes are meant to be split open into a plate, and then you share stuff around it. And your box became the plate, and it was less waste. So when you were done, you had no plates to get rid of. The boxes and everything all were taken away, and it was a really fantastic way to have almost no waste when you put out food. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to an old style Chinese restaurant that had this paper bowl or cup. It would be square, but if you realized it, you could open up the whole box and turn it into a plate.
Yeah, these
The
things
rice
hold
box?
water. Sorry, what was
I
that?
Are
don't
you
have
talking
one.
about the rice box?
You're like your voice is fading out when
Yeah,
you're
a
trying
little
to
bit.
talk.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
No, you're good now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Chinese.
Oh, you're good now. That
No,
was
go
good.
ahead. You were going to say we missed something. You're saying something. Sorry. So these Chinese containers, I mean, they would hold water. I've actually poured water in one of these a long time ago. I was like, how is it holding my beef broccoli without spilling? Because it's a box, right? It doesn't make any sense. But I poured water in one after I poured out my, not all, just to test it, and they're like, waterproof. It was fucking crazy. It's brilliant. But just
Yeah, I
go
actually
ahead.
have one here. Let me pop it up real quick. Uh, and then I've got to start getting ready for bed.
All right.
Um,
No, but here's
so
my.
this should
Go
be
ahead.
one container, and in this case, this one is able to put water in it.
Uh-huh.
So you can also put other things in it.
Yeah,
You
look at
just
that,
fold it out and you turn it into your plate.
and that's it.
Yeah, I knew that at one time, but I completely forgot.
So
Okay.
just thinking about something like that. So people don't realize that when you have a plate, you got to wash it.
Hmm.
So we have a problem with a lot of places right now with water.
Oh
Well,
my God.
when we make something out of paper like this, it takes a lot of water. They squeeze it out, they use it to make the next one. So it's really an efficient way to use the water in this method. So I really like this idea of not cleaning the plate, taking my food container, using it. So I got the food in it, and then I put it over here. Less waste. So my brother-in-law used to live in Japan, and he would bring my kids candy, and the wrappers were edible. So there was no waste. You ate the wrapper.
I know the rice paper.
And but we have so many things that we don't think about them for how much. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still in share mode. We don't think about how much that we're wasting along the way.
Yeah,
That if we just switch to a couple other things like this,
simple
that
stuff.
Of course, you don't want to think about it. It's very distressing to think about it.
we've been
Get it?
trained to think that paper is on ecology. So if we were to use the paper to bind up and use some of our carbon dioxide, you can also make these containers out of bamboo or
Or
other
hemp.
materials.
Or hemp.
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
but you could use other materials in this process. So we're reusing all of our waste to the point where we get stuff done. And
Like,
it's just go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say Carl Jung said that it was distressing us all, like in the 1920s or 30s. He was saying, like the amount of pollution, all this stuff, the damage to our ecology, ecosystem, whatever, is like distressing every human being on the planet.
Yeah, and then
I believe
what
it.
we eat, we need to eat less. Like the Danish way of making sandwiches, you don't put bread on top. So sandwich is the British bastardization of ways of presenting meat. So smear bread, smear bread, smear bread. I can't pronounce it. Call it s'more bread. Is the Danish process of a one-sided sandwich. You know, bread only on the bottom, and all the fancy stuff is on top. And it actually means butter bread, but it's a way that reduced exactly how much waste was done to make the sandwich. And so we don't want to use 20 plates to make something. We don't want to use so much material, expend things. And we have to be thinking that every fork we wash, every knife we wash, everything we do is putting pollutants eventually into the ocean.
That's what all
And
goes.
and we aren't thinking that way.
Why? Why? Well, I mean, is it the soap?
Yeah, the soap and whatever debris that
Can we
gets
make
off.
a different soap?
You could, but still, the better thing is make it in a way that we have the minimum amount of waste going down the drain.
Yeah, they have biodegradable soap. And
Yeah, I actually
What
use
about all
Delta.
the fluoride in the water? I always wondered, like, all the stuff that, I don't know. It just, like, it must accrue. It must gotta be something. I don't know. I
I've
think
got to
the
get
fracking is terrible. I think that anything like this is it's using too much. Man, I
Star's gotta go to
interested this
bed.
at a sustainable design degree. I wish I could take it. It's in Oregon University. It's sustainable design. So just like, and I kind of think in terms of that, like you should sustainably design everything.
I
So
had my
like
last
sustainable utilitarianism is what we need to think.
I had my last class today.
Oh,
I thought I was done, but they decided that since we don't have class tomorrow, we're all going to have a departmental meeting, and I've got to get up early, go in for my
it's
departmental
okay.
meeting,
You don't have to explain, Snorri. Thank you for
and I'll be
bringing.
done at 9:30 in the
Yeah.
morning. They're making
Yeah.
me go in for an hour.
Thank you for bringing the class here too. Every time you come on, I appreciate it, and we all do.
Oh, well, thanks
It's
for being
good,
there.
good,
I've
good to
got to
have
get
it.
some sleep.
But it's good to have
Uh,
you. Take care. Good seeing you. We'll be in touch for
Good
sure.
Think about
night.
it.
right.
Aloha. Yeah, and I'm going to close it up here pretty soon too, guys. But I think my
Okay.
point is, Shelly, and I know you, and I know Ben, you'll agree. Ben, by the way, Ben's been on my show. Ben, remember, like, was it late 2016 or early 2017 when I was started
Definitely
doing
it's 27. Definitely 2017, but probably
2017? It's 2017 when I
Oh,
started doing Monotalk, and we had I
yeah,
got
we might have been somewhere else for like 6 months before that we don't need to talk about.
yeah. I
No,
was
it's all good. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter about shit. It's just you know what I mean. But it's we were hanging out.
well,
We talking for a long
I
time.
was doing Blog Talk Radio since 2014. And then you came on.
Okay.
We started talking in like 2017 with a bunch of people, and we used to have like 15 people on here sometimes. And Lots of great conversations and ideas.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. Yeah, like about 10.
Remember whatever happened to Garden Gnome? You ever know what happened to him?
Oh, he's doing good. He had a pretty successful, like, I don't know, he had some success or something. It's like in I don't know.
I gotta
Like,
find
I
out.
think
I
he was
think I
grinding.
got
I
his
think he
I
was
got his
grinding away
email.
at
I should
YouTube or
just ask him
something.
how he's doing.
I think he was grinding away at something. Yeah, I think he was actually
Somebody
has
is.
like his channel. Like, was it his channel or was it somewhere else, some other social media? I don't know.
I'm not
I forgot,
sure.
but I saw it I saw him like on Twitter or something like a year ago,
But we've had some good
and he was doing good.
conversations. Am I right? I mean, some good stuff.
He's
I
cool.
gotta
Yeah, he's
say.
smart.
But we've had some good
He's got his.
conversations, though, right? All of us.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Lots of good stuff. And I think it's
There's a
important for us to
there's
get.
a problem with information I want to talk to you too about still tonight, but I mean, like, that's another good topic for sure. Maybe next time. But about information, how important that is. When you're learning something, researching something,
Oh
you'd
yeah.
like to think that, like, let's say Google would be accurate, the things we'd find there. And then to be patronized, sorry, I use that word all the time, but to
Right.
be like, sort of told in this condescending way, there's all this misinformation that they're battling it. Like, no, you're
Yeah.
not.
Well, the
You're not
people,
battling it.
yeah, the thing,
You're not doing
the
anything to
people
battle nothing.
that use the
I
label.
mean, maybe they are, but
Right. But Ben, but
we
I
Ben,
get
are.
what you're
We did this
saying.
no,
internet.
but
We did this
I
internet,
totally get what he's saying.
and we are, we like built the internet a lot. We refine the internet a lot. So it's like they wouldn't take credit for the whole thing, right? Like some kind of Al Gore, I made the internet type of deal. They're all Al Gore. They're all the same thing.
Yeah. Well, there's the problem now is just the Ministry of Truth that still exists, or the fact checkers and the tyrannical authoritarianism that's existing now through YouTube. I mean, I don't know if you know this, Ben, but I'm glad you're able to find my channel. But this is my fifth or sixth channel that I've started because of just asking questions and having discussions and bringing up my own conclusions and theories and stuff like that. But
Yeah, sorry about what happened with that last channel.
no, there's no nobody should
I
no
just don't know
should
how to censor myself.
no nobody no nobody. I do not want anybody to ever. I've always said let's kind of be calm, but it never happens. It doesn't happen on Montauk. Everybody is going to talk and let it out, and I think that's good. And that's the discussion
Yeah,
that
I know there was one day you were like, well, you're gonna use this term as code for this, and like
didn't
2
happen.
seconds
It didn't
later,
last.
it just totally went out the window.
It just did. No, we're going to use
It
puka
just
because
comes
it means
out.
puka means vaccine. It doesn't. So immediately what I do, like I said, is I take this and this one I think I can let it stand because we're not getting too crazy unless we start talking about some stuff.
Yeah,
But I think I can leave this one up. The
yeah, I think this
thing,
one stays.
yeah, this one stays. But the biggest thing right now is everything that's happening on Twitter in regards to the exposure, which isn't that much, and you're not really seeing the source data. Jason Burmis and I and other people are bringing that up. Give me the source. Give us the actual. Redact what you want, but let us see it ourselves and put it out there, which they kind of have. But it's totally proving that not just Twitter, but Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and probably TikTok have all been, in a sense, compromised. So what Ben's saying is the information that you're getting has been directed by a
So,
particular
okay, you know
agenda.
what's really, really shady about
Go ahead.
the quote-unquote Twitter files?
Right? I know, right? Yeah, I got you.
Okay, because they're fucking not. Like, some of them aren't even screenshots. You know what they are? Are photos of a computer screen, right?
I know.
So you can download that image and find out from the metadata whether or not it's the original file. However, you can't do that with whatever's on that screen that the photo is of. Like that could be that could be photo manipulated,
Easily. Exactly.
and then there's no source data there because it's just a photo of it.
Exactly. No, I'm telling you, the
Like,
way they
even a
rolled this
screen-
out
like-
is just
Oh my
fucking
God.
stupid. How did Julian Assange do it? How did Julian Assange do it? And that's what I
Data
brought up
dumps
to
for
Matt
the
Taibbi.
actual files.
Yeah, I put in at Matt Taibbi, at Elon Musk. Do you guys remember how Julian Assange released information? Do you guys remember how they didn't add their little innuendos and their personal perspective and their conclusions and whatever? He just put it out there. He didn't give it a backstory and all this other fucking crap that they were
Yeah,
doing.
he didn't.
I don't like this. I don't like
He
the
didn't add his
sycophants. I
own
don't like the
analysis.
sycophants. I don't like the haters that are over the top. I don't like that. I just but I hope it all comes out. But I think that it's good to take time to have the public discourse about it. This is good
Yeah.
that there's
No.
like,
We want it to
there's,
come
like,
out. It's just the way
by
it's
it being
coming out
true
is a
now,
little
we're able to take
suspect.
there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
These different couple areas. So that's fair enough. But what you're saying
Well,
is
did you hear
absolutely
that?
valid. I'm not denying what you're saying. So.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
No, I
did
get
you
you.
hear that? Well, I don't know if it's Elon specifically, but did you hear that Twitter just suspended a bunch of journalists for like big name
Yeah. Stupid.
news places
Yeah.
that were
it's complicated. It's the drama. It's the Twitter drama, but that's the thing you don't really want to get sucked into.
yeah
That's exactly
apparently they
That
were
doesn't
like
help.
criti-
I mean,
Apparently-
it's complicated. Everybody can look into it.
I mean, apparently it was for like being critical of Elon Musk, but like, I mean,
Okay,
But
you know how you can
why?
make
It
an
could
argument
be.
ad hominem? We're making this topic
could
ad
be.
hominem. We're getting sucked into the drama, so that's why I disagree.
No,
with
we're
you.
not.
Yeah.
We're just bringing it. Okay.
No. It really is. There's a whole story for me to tell you. Because like I've seen all this, so it's like I get it. Like I can like give you the rundown and you can see. I mean, so it's basically Elon Musk's son was in this car with some driver, some guy like pulled out in front of them and like wouldn't let them get by or something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so or whatever. So then there's a controversy about like because everything Elon Musk does is like he's scrutinizing and everybody's gonna talk about it, have their opinions back and forth, and it's so they're like there was that, and so it's like his son, right, his own safety, and now there's a thing with his jet location, and he had announced before he banned these journalists that if you do this, it needs to be like he banned this guy that was like just reporting like the public, I guess, sort of information or some kind of not public, but he was getting a hold of his flight, his jet location, GPS or something, information where it was landing at these different airports and posting it everywhere, just to kind of like almost, I don't know what would be the point, just like some people are like these free speech sort of absolutionist type of a stance, and I get it, but it's like Elon sees it as a safety issue, and he's like, if I want this like to be 24 hours limit before you post where my location is all the time, where I'm flying. He's probably flying like Arnold Schwarzenegger every day. So basically, yeah. But I mean, so basically, that's what this issue is, and so he told them, he banned the guy. Everybody made a stink, so he reinstates him. But he's like, with the stipulation, is going to have to be 24 hours. The dude was still getting workaround, sending links and everything, like these links to a place where they can check on his flight, like right then and there, real time, and thing. So then Elon's like, no, I will ban you for posting that link. Journalists post that link, they got banned. He's taking polls right now, and there's all these discussions. So there, you see, I caught you up with the drama, but that is just drama. It's Elon Musk's life or whatever. It's a giant ad hominem. It's a giant psyop. I think because I think even the biggest people in the world could be psyop. And and
I don't think think Elon Musk
yeah, I mean,
is
I just don't want. I think
genuine.
there's really important issues here. There's like free speech, corruption, information flows. There's COVID. There's a lot. There's a lot to talk about. It's very pertinent, especially the whole free speech thing, and what was going on with collusion with government and stuff, and whatever. I like Matt Taibbi. I actually saw him drunk
He's not a
live
bad
stream
guy.
with Katie Halper. He was amazing. Like she was like, "Oh my God, you're so drunk, man." He's like, "Whatever." He's like, "Whatever." There's like 20 people watching, and they're like reading comments. I mean, Katie will sit there and do like 3-hour shows. I like anybody who will do 3-4 hour shows. Anybody who's been a stickler, sticking up for like censorship and all along. Because I bet and see, this is a point I want to make actually. While I'm speaking so much, just that I'm kind of thinking it could go either way, right? And there's been so much violation of it all in the past. We'd like to see it be better. We'd like to see there be some space, but is that space going to remain? is Elon Musk gonna lose $15 billion before the end of the year, or for the next 3 months or 4 months, for some weird reason. Who knows? Remains to be seen, right? And is it going to remain? And then will it affect and affect other places like YouTube and Facebook? Will they be like, oh man, I see how prominent this is. Look how well Elon's done. And look, he's making these. People don't like this. Now that they have an option, if it's able to remain and stay, if it is real, even, right? So I'm a skeptic. So we'll have to see. But see, like, to conflate the issue and say, oh well, this is a case in point. Boom, done. Now Elon Musk, the thing is not really free, and it's like all this contradiction and what a hypocrisy. Well, it's like, well, you're not actually adults, and you actually don't know what reasonable and rational is, and you put it in any kind of fair perspective because you never have been trained to. And back to that, when you're learning something and studying something, researching something, you want it to be true. You want to find, and we've been being lied to about different things, energy and all these things. So for 50 years, and big boy adults, so big successful people buy it, and and it's kind of like I kind of say shame on the people who are taking advantage of people and their innocence in that sense, and
yeah, for sure.
And it's at large, right? And it's happening right now. And so look at the drama, and to be either like, I'm a sycophant for him, or I'm I think he's horrible in case it's done. I mean, it's like, stop being so freaking apprehensive. So and definitely it's a distraction, and to worry about the celebrity of it, or the the little, like you guys actually said initially, is like they didn't release information like that in the past with all this showcasing and whatever, what I mean? Like, I don't know how do you say that, fanfare.
It's a grandstanding in a sense.
Yeah.
So Ben, do you see what I have up on the share screen? Can you see it? Or are you on your phone? I don't know if
I can see it. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. But
so that's a data dump, or a very small piece of the Podesta files that Julian Assange released.
Good one. Pied Piper.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically that clearly indicates a certain agenda, a process, a system, and everything's there. Now I just put in red the obvious, right? And I think that's what I wanted to see, but we're not seeing it, basically, from the Twitter files.
You know how I know that they want to ramp up the confusion and everything is because 3-4 hours after Elon Musk already reinstated the dude, Reuters on Twitter was posting, Elon Musk bans this guy. It's like, dude, he already reinstated him 3 hours ago. You're Reuters, and I'm watching you like right now tweet this article like about how how sloppy and stupid. It's because that's what the impression people are getting. That's what they see. They see this, right?
Well,
they're seeing that these articles, these inflaming articles about these conversations they want you to have to avoid having those conversations they do not want you to have as much. The actual significant ones.
These media outlets are nothing but propaganda propaganda operations. It's like they got to keep it going. And we saw it
in 2016, them colluding with all the media, but we didn't see it. We didn't see what James just posted. We didn't see it. It is a minority fraction of people that know the Pied Piper emails and what it just had seen that and processed that in their brains, because I don't know why. I mean, partially blame them, partially blame the whatever's all going on.
But people are starting to turn on them because of this whole COVID thing. People are like, dude, you guys are fucked up for what you did. So now they got to look like, the victims and be like, oh my God, Elon Musk is banning all these legitimate journalists. So, it's like a distraction from what's actually said in some of this stuff, and because they kept on, the mainstream media kept on saying, well, this is all just a conspiracy theory that people are getting banned for, and then you got half of them saying that, and you got the other half actually advocating for censoring people online. So people are waking up now that the whole COVID thing is falling apart, And now that they're paying attention to what these people are saying and actually know what they're doing, they're like, oh my God, I'm the victim now because this is happening. Like, oh, look, see, the Twitter, Elon's going to be worse and all this other shit and whatever.
Elon clearly wants Trump to get elected.
No, let me say this, and I think he might be more of the problem than the cure, only because that if he's going to start wedging himself or his process between people having an opinion on whether it's Jack Dorsey or it's Elon Musk or it's, Bob Smith or whoever the fuck is running the show, for him to be so deeply entwined, I mean, don't you have fucking SpaceX to run, bro? The other thing is,
Yeah,
so
that's
my
true.
point
But hands-on
is,
is a virtue as well.
yeah, I don't know if you can see this,
And a
but it's
richest
up
man in
on,
the world's time is very
yeah,
valuable.
but I don't know if you can see this, but up on Twitter, I put this up a long time ago. Is it's the divide and conquer, and it's almost like
Yeah.
he's fueling that because, but what that also means that he's doing is if you're making this just all right or all right wing or all conservative, then
That's what
then
my
you've done
problem with
your
this
job.
Twitter files thing is.
Then
It's
you
all
then you've done
because
your
there was
job.
people on the
You know how
left.
they accuse Donald Trump though
Yeah,
of causing
yeah.
the division?
Let me.
Come on,
This is
you can't.
important.
No,
This
no.
is an important
You know how
point.
they accuse Donald Trump, right, of causing the division that
Yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't cause.
Yeah, of course
Okay.
they of course they're gonna they everything
It's already
they're
divided.
doing, they accuse everybody else of doing everything that they're actually. But here's the thing: if I can't have and I'm glad that there are people now that I can still converse with that are on the right or on the left or somewhere in the between or whatever, that I can send pieces of information to that'll go, what the fuck does this mean? Well, let me tell you. Well, let me show you. Well, here's some data. Here's some actual pertinent, provable, unequivocal facts for you to see that you can research yourself, and then you make up your own decision. He could be that person to continue to cause a larger wedge between the great divide, and that's what the 1%, because it's this simple. If the
By releasing
99%,
documents and exposing
Ben,
things
this
like
is
this? I don't
important.
know.
If the
I don't really understand.
99% continues to fight each other, then we'll never defeat the true enemy, right? The true
What
enemy.
if no, bro, you got it wrong because if we
Oh, I
got all
did.
bots responding to us on Twitter, if we got all these fake accounts and handles responding to us and controlling the conversation, making people think that's what actually people think, then no, that's hurting the conversation. So maybe we can have a conversation and maybe that because we don't know. Like this is another form of just being
Yeah,
apprehensive. And
I
I'll
don't know
tell you,
if you're
man.
getting what I'm
Elon
saying,
when he
Ben.
was buying
Yeah,
Twitter,
there's all
right?
those government
It was
trolls
a
and
continuous
stuff.
discussion
No, I
when he was
get
buying
that.
Twitter was
That's
like
what I'm saying. So
this
he
is what
has
he
that
gonna do
aspect as
is
well.
he gonna have too much control? And you know what he had in his back pocket? He had in his back pocket the whole time a message from Dorsey saying, "Do you want to buy Twitter?" So everybody's accusing him of, oh, he's trying to do this, and he's just coming over and just, well, it's like he was offered it. So it's like he's got to keep something in his back pocket. When he says prosecute Fauci, I think he has something in his back pocket. I think that I'm not a biggest COVID nut about all the COVID whole deal. I actually don't talk about it very much. But I think that
Are you
the
vaccinated?
public space
Are you
for freaking people.
vaccinated, Ben?
No. And
Good
for the
man.
public space, for people having real conversations, for people interacting, we need to have the shadow ban, the conceal. Like I'm concealing that I'm banning you. I'm concealing that from you, and as best as I can. And I'm banning you as hard as I can at the same time. And that's because that's political censorship. It's not a valid censorship of something that we would ever think. They're censoring some little guy, which is preposterous. The censoring Joe Schmo out there is silly, and keeping us and saying that we're unable to decide who we want to talk to and have our own conversations is demeaning and belittling and insulting.
Yeah.
and I want to say patronizing, but try not to. And yeah, it's ridiculous, and I don't know if it's I don't know, I said I'm a skeptic. I don't know if I believe he'll be the best virtuous, even whatever.
Yeah,
But
no.
I mean,
He's a
to
fucking
work on the
billionaire,
programming,
dude.
to try to do it, to be rich enough to just do it as a toy project, that could be like it could be. And so I don't, but I definitely don't want to be the sycophant with it. I definitely don't like it dividing, and I don't want to be just like, oh, now I'm only talking to conservatives or something, and everybody else left alone over
Well,
here. Like it's
Yeah.
silly, and they shouldn't be like suppressed because more conservatives were suppressed for it, so now it's suppressed more liberals. No, like it should be like nobody is being. There's no political censorship. If you're banned, you're banned. It's clear. See what the old Twitter would have done to these journalists is they would have been, oh, they were shadow banned, and we'll just reduce. And we actually have the Breitbart being censored like that on the files.
Go ahead,
well,
Shelly.
the thing about Elon is like, um, he's also, DARPA's golden boy. He's the
Yeah.
cool, quirky face of DARPA, and he's the one. What I think is going on. So, like Neuralink and the robots and shit like
Hmm.
that he's claiming, oh yeah, he's like revolutionizing and stuff. Well, DARPA's been working on this stuff for all these different research institutes for decades. What Elon Musk is putting out to the public is doesn't even touch what it actually is in existence already. And I honestly think, him coming out with like these duds, like the Neuralink trot, like with Neuralink, like it killed all the monkeys and shit like that, and people are all up in arms, and this like humanoid robot he came out with, and it being something like it looks like something Disney made in the
It's
50s.
pathetic. Yeah.
Like it's to make this stuff look like it's not possible
Right.
to be as advanced as it actually is right now,
Right.
that other researchers have been doing for decades. Like what's actually out there is way more advanced than
Oh,
what he's
for sure.
doing.
There's tons of stuff.
And like I honestly don't think he invents
That's fair.
anything
It's like
himself.
he's
I don't know. I
mocking
can't say any of that's
everything.
unfair.
Yeah, I just got no. Look, the biggest thing, and then look, it's getting kind of late. I gotta go, guys. But Ben, it's great to have you on. Maybe I don't know if you really
Right on. Thanks,
understood
man.
my point, and it's good hearing you, bro. Totally. And Shelly, you're fantastic for being on. Look, billionaires and somebody that I know, brilliant person, told me this that every billionaire, in some way, shape, or form, took a life to get where they are. Right? Unless they were given the diamond spoon, or it was monarchical, or it was passed down or something like that. It's just somebody was subjugated, enslaved, and something happened for in most cases for a billionaire to be where they're at. And if you look at the mines, what is the element again for the batteries? God darn, I can't remember that.
Oh, lithium.
Lithium, right? And children just slave. I mean, just don't even get me started and all that. But the
Well,
thing
his
is,
parents
yeah,
owned like diamond and I think emerald mines.
yeah, and this is the
Yeah.
way this guy made his money, and everybody wants to fucking be his. I'm just, I want people to be successful, like I said, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of people out there that have done it in a very, very nefarious way, in my opinion. So,
Well, and it's also, certain people are chosen to be the face, like the public face of
oh yeah,
something more nefarious.
Or
exactly.
maybe it's a way to make almost all the censorship legal by, oh, now we're having the discussion, and now I don't
Exactly.
know.
Yep,
Sometimes
that's a
things
good
like that are
point,
like weird
Ben.
ways of
Ben,
processing
that's
things.
that's a good point. Look, from Burmis, who I watch a lot, James Corbett, Ryan Christian, who I've had on my show. Just letting you guys know, the internet is gonna be stripped, and if we don't start acting, if you don't go to stopthewef.org, which is my website, or fthewef.org, and start getting out there, revolting, peacefully and smartly, and targeting correctly, um, and protesting. This stuff is going to happen, and if you're not holding your legislator, your judiciary, your executive and your department head that you voted for accountable for allowing these unelected World Economic Forum elitist pieces of shit to control your every action, then you're no better than your average felon. And that's pretty much it.
Well,
Go ahead.
on the other hand, we are so far gone and everybody is so bought out that we just gotta fucking
What?
just
Just say it.
prepare for the worst.
Prepare or do what do we need to do? Do you believe in order to fucking put a big halt to this? I mean, the only thing that I can say legally is to protest and revolt. Revolt meaning don't buy certain products, don't go to certain stores, don't, which I don't think they really care about. But really get out there and be kind of a force, but not physically or with weapons, but just in. You ever seen people go to somebody's house and picket in front of their, in their cul-de-sac? That's what I'm talking about in a revolting way.
Yeah.
Just get, because they're in our business. They're in our business now. They're not. These people are in our business. They're fucking trying to destroy our lives, like legitimately trying to kill us. I mean, I don't see any other conclusion for certain things that are happening out there from these elites or the World Economic Forum. Is they're literally, absolutely, with unequivocally. I mean, there's no other way to look around it. Everything in action they're doing causes great harm or death upon the 99%, which leads to their biggest belief, depopulation. And I'm going to end with that. You got anything to say, Shelley, real quick? Because it's great to have you
No.
on. Ben, anything from you? Ben, are you there? Did Ben go? Okay, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
they're
was
waiting for you.
researching Audible books for the Bronze Age.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, thanks, man.
Ben, do I have your Facebook message? Or I do, right? In case when I come on, like I'm going to do another one in a couple days. I'd like to have you
Twitter,
back
yeah.
on. You got some good stuff. Good to hear you, by the way.
I don't know.
And if you
Good talking
if you hear from anybody else out there, let them know that I'm still here. The old gang. Aloha, guys. Thanks for being here. Take care.
Okay.